All right, I think we got everybody up. Lead up. Good morning. Let's get this show on the road, right? My brushes out. I'd like a better way of getting these in here so I have an easier time getting them out. All right, we need you and you and these two. One of them's kind of dying though, so you know that's happening. But get some colors out. And don't know that we need everybody just yet, but get some of them out at the very least. Ones I know for sure I'll need. This one. Big tube of white. Trying to be a little more judicious about the amount I'm putting out too. I found I don't always use quite as much as I think I might. Partially it's because I'm used to working with oil paints, and so I usually use a lot more oil than other colors. Other kinds of colors, rather. Let's see, Payne's Gray. Probably got some burnt umber too, huh? Let's see, burnt umber. Right there. And then I like to organize my palette into a couple categories. Should be everybody I need right now. And then put them in a certain order. So basically, it's earth tones on the right, and then I go from yellow to, well, to blue or green or purple. In terms of organizing the palettes, that way I kind of know where everybody's at. I mean, you can just randomly put stuff down, but that tends to be, there we go, last button there. Tends to be just a little bit less effective because you have to think about where you put your paint. So if you don't have to think about where you put your paint, then you can kind of get to painting a lot faster than if you don't. So, all right. So today, I'm feeling good about where the tonality is going. Might be worth throwing down a little glazing meeting just so I can see everybody better. I think we'll start with that. Probably should have done that yesterday after I was done, but just kind of evens out the transparent and the matte places. It's pretty wet. Why spray that much water on there? I thought. Hair dry it. Yeah, it does make it easier to see things. And then another thing, just kind of looking at it, put a thin layer of the tint on it. Funny how the Prussian blue swans. All right, we're dry. To the being exposed to the air, just how quickly it dries. So one of the things I want to push with this one is the overall tonality, and push that down a lot. Good morning, Kelly. All right, so I think that was a good idea. Try to keep things in a certain kind of key of lighting. So I think what we'll do is I think we'll work on her portrait here to start off with. Just kind of get that locked in. All right. Our hairline is come forward to like there. Good morning. Let's see. Hair comes over there. All right. I think that mostly corrects the drawing on her head. Thank you, I think. Too heavy. Let's see. Thought it'd be a good idea to kind of key in a certain area, which is something I like to do. Is basically mostly bring something to a finish in a certain area, and that way it kind of gives me a guide for the rest of the picture. Optimus Prime, huh? Appreciate that, Optimus. Autobots assemble. Roll out. Or whatever. Do they get completed? Yeah, like the one I was working on before, they're just up over. I'll put them in a folder. I mean, I might touch them up later. I did cut them off, which is funny because I have like the Instagram posts that they're on. So these are the ones I've been doing, right? So the first one I might take a day once I kind of finish off this sketchbook and just kind of go through all of them a little bit. There's the first one I did. It's on the same paper. It's right here. Then I did this guy. I want to touch him a little bit up in the arm just to make the mechanical stuff a little cleaner. And then that was the most recent one. It's been a long time since I watched Autobots. I did see, they've got that whole Kirkman Transformers and GI Joe verse, and I guess he's adding Mask to that. The guys that wear like these special helmets and they would operate these transforming cars. So I thought that was interesting. Try to paint over the little arm thing a little bit. So I thought that was interesting that they're going to be kind of blending all this stuff together. And then my goals with this one is like to keep the contrast, except for like a few areas, relatively low. For a certain tonal quality. Sort of what I see in Piotr Jablonski's work. And I thought that might be interesting. He has like usually some area of sharp contrast. Obviously, we'll keep that up here, but I want to kind of save that for later. Let's see, the mouth is here. Some more. So I'm mostly using earth tones right now. So colors like transparent oxide red and Payne's gray, yellow ochre, and burnt umber. I've got Prussian blue out too, but I haven't used it yet. So that's kind of what's going on. I'd probably care a lot more about Transformers, but those movies were just so bad. I mean, Bumblebee was better, but sort of. It had structural problems in the narrative, but it was at least not stupid. So I might need some CAD red out of here. But yeah, that pink will be nice to have in the forehead. She is a redhead after all, right? So I got to get that pink in there. Even if it's a little too light right there. So, but yeah. What's funny is there's actually drawings on the back of those images or paintings, like their studies I'd done. I just cut right through them. They are just studies, so. But yeah, but it's definitely a challenge painting this small too. Trying to keep everything very delicate and precise. Which is part of the fun, I think, is just like working that very kind of precise care, but also trying to keep it moody. Kind of figuring out the appropriate techniques and approaches. But again, I spent a lot of time, before, well, last semester, really looking at people who work the way I kind of like working, and people that do really nice, kind of careful acrylic work, and I think that's kind of helped out a lot. So I can kind of read. I can read technique to a certain degree when I look at work these days, especially painted stuff. And so it kind of helps me be able to see what's going on. It's a little bit bright overhead. Get a lot of light in here. But you know, that's I think part of the fun in painting is looking for challenges like that. Definitely would be easier to paint this larger though. That's for sure. Oof. All right. I appreciate that. Very kind of you to say so. Let's see. Let's see. This is acrylic. It's actually a medium that I consider myself weaker in, so that's why I'm spending some time with it. Um, as a result of some experiences last semester, I was like, yeah, maybe I need to spend more time with this particular medium. So here we are. So yeah, you're working on this. I wanted to do a number of these kind of simple-ish illustrations, and so kind of working my way through my little list here. This one does feel like it's going quicker than the last one, so we'll see if that's actually true. So that's what we got going on. Is some acrylic painting. It's a mixture of just different reference sources I have. So it's not really like, a lot of extreme planning, or it's not related to a specific IP or anything. Just taking some reference sources I have and kind of blending them together. Here we're just working on the drawing of the head today. Trying to clean that up a bit. Figure out the amount of contrast we're going to put in it. Good morning. And usually let me know if any questions out there. I don't mind talking while working, but oh, hello, Death Thinker. It's good they're showing me on DLive. They gave me some weird warning about inappropriate content, and I didn't do anything weird. It was just I'm wondering if they like thought my thumb was something, like their whatever bot that's running in the background, whatever hallucinating AI bot they're running. But um, so yeah, I'm not sure what's going on over there. I think it means it doesn't archive my live streams, and um, And then it also doesn't put them out in the public area, so I'm not sure why it did that, but that's one thing I think of is like I thought my thumb was something that it wasn't. So I don't know. Alright, let's go back into the shadows. Trying to get the face more or less locked in today. Like right now, her brow is too low there. Good morning. Push that eyebrow up. Fix that expression a little bit. Let's see. Take a little break and work on what's around her. Dirty up that color a little bit. Careful. Hmm. The delicate stuff always kind of not really stresses me out, but I can definitely feel the pressure. Good morning. Just trying to lock in some of the detail areas, not all of them, but today Doesn't mean I'll never work on them again, but I want to make sure that they're really accurate. That's my sleepy dog doing over there, and just waiting for the middle part of the day, huh? That's what we're waiting for. Good morning. I appreciate that. Just mostly working on the portrait today. Area kind of right around it, looking to kind of key in the details. Or some of them anyway. While also trying to keep it in a certain kind of value range. So there's a lot of cleanup to do, be similar to the other ones, but so that's something I'm trying to kind of watch as I work, is not losing this kind of low contrast, low key approach. Maybe some areas it gets like this will probably get brighter eventually, but same some aspects of her head, but not yet. Yeah, let me know how that works. Actually, I need to update it so make sure it says a confirmation that it got your stuff, but it does look like it's working, so appreciate you signing up for that. I'd like to get that list to like at least 1,000 people, I think would be where to get to. So I started inking the pitch pages yesterday, so that's what yesterday's reel was all about. Starting that, I need to fix some things on it today, or touched up, finish it. Oof. Let's take to do too much. Oof. Oh, I'm gonna fix your bed for you there, puppy. There we go. Poor dog. Always moving around. Yeah, might need to touch up his water bowl a little bit. Good morning. too much light there on the mouth. Let's see. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I appreciate that. I just kind of, this is the day, what, 2 or 3 on? I think day 2 on this. I was worked yesterday a bunch of just kind of on the background and surrounding areas, kind of getting the tonality worked out. And then first day was like the drawing and the value patterns. So we'll eventually do the whole image this way, but thought I'd focus in on the portrait today, get that kind of locked in. For the hour or so that I'm going to be on. Yeah, but I find I have to be really careful if I want to get a likeness, so. Or at least a realistic look. I think what might be fun is having some things like peeking out back there behind her in the shadows. Like she's talking to these little guys here. Maybe back here is something. Yeah, back behind the imply there's something back there. It could be coming out of here a little bit. Let's see, where's my little friend here? There you are. Take a little break. Oof. All right. Sorry, Bosch. Just moved my foot a little bit. Got my dog under my feet, so he was just expressing himself a little bit. Good morning. 1:30, huh? It's always important to be open to opportunities in a composition, right? I was like, well, there's got to be something going on in the back. So I think I take this jellyfish I'm putting around here and put the big one back here. much better. How about that there? I think I want to thicken some of these up a little bit more. Good morning. I appreciate that. Enjoy your storyboards. When are we getting the graphic novel from you? I thought I should finally learn to paint with acrylics, right? Yeah, I thought about leaving the windows blank, and I was like, well, what could I put back there? Well, I've got these little guys here, so maybe there's something bigger back there. So I'll have to knock it back some, but spent much time working on the face, so I thought I'd do something different with the remainder of the time. Awesome. Yeah, I'm trying to work on my own little pitch, so started inking one of the covers yesterday. It's mostly done, but I gotta sit down. Finish that off today and jump into some pages or the other cover I did. And hopefully it'll be. But I've never done one before. It's like I'm not like a. I did storyboards a little bit, but I wasn't that great at them when I was working at this illustration studio a long time ago. But I've been working on some of those skills I think that would help me have been better at that back then. But probably why I leaned into the concept art thing more, right? Feels so much better. Way too much contrast, but I think I'll be able to knock it back pretty easily later. Yeah, it's just that's the nature of the business, right? It's quick, and but it's got to also have high impact. I have a number of friends who worked in Hollywood. One was Ryan Woodward. I'm not sure what he's doing these days, but I worked with him on a few projects where he could bring me on over the years. But it's been a while since the last one, a couple of years, I think. It's funny with the AI thing, how like the studios and all of the kind of people seem to be really eager to like get rid of the art part, so like storyboarding or concept art. When I kind of look at the production on a film, that seems like that's the cheapest part, is the people working in pre-production. You know, like visual effects, I could at least understand because that's like a huge expenditure. But kind of this fixation on replacing concept artists and storyboard artists and these pre-production people just seems bizarre to me. I don't understand the maliciousness in that. Um, what'd you guys do to them to make them so upset at you for that? Did you kick a puppy on set or something? You know? You know, it's just seems that eagerness is really weird to me. Some people I talk to say, say a lot of the Hollywood people. Yeah, it's like you gotta have people who are expert in that vision, and it seems like Gen AI is always like a solution that is, you might call good enough, maybe, at its best, because it doesn't understand the project, it doesn't understand what you're doing, but it can look like it. I forget the name, but there's an effect. It's been around. It's been well known for 60 plus, 70 plus years, where people assume through their interaction that there's an intelligence they're communicating with when they use chatbots of any kind. Um, it's been around since the very, very beginning of computing. Um, just this effect, Angela effect, or something like that. I don't remember, but yeah, it just seems so weird. Like you've got this assumption that these robots are gonna, these statistical probability matching machines are gonna get you a unique perspective and point of view on things. Just seems delusional. I don't get it, but I mean, I get the desire to cut people out. I understand, that's why, but it just seems like they're harming their possibilities by trying to do that. It's like I teach a senior portfolio class, and part of the goal of the class is to help students set up their infrastructure and investigate career opportunities, like building a website and working on their social media stuff and contacts and all of that, how to kind of organize themselves so they can find productive work. Of course, AI hasn't helped with that at all. But I was checking out some of the storyboard reps online. One of them I've worked with in the past, a long time ago. I wasn't rep by them, but I worked with people who were, uh, and other ones. And like a lot of these storyboard reps are putting up these AI chatbot things on their sites to generate images for their clients. I'm really dubious as to how well they actually work for client needs rather than having a human being on the other side who understands the project and the possibilities, and you know, has context for everything. Unlike a chatbot that it doesn't understand what you're doing at all. It's just trying to match your request with something that's statistically likely, which is, the absolute opposite of being creative or having vision. Quite literally. All right. We've achieved almost full ugly phase on this, which is, you're probably well aware it's that phase you kind of go through when you mostly have everything kind of there, but it's kind of a mess. One of my teachers always referred to it as the ugly phase, and that every image, he says goes through. Is a little phase where where it's going, but it's got a lot of work to get there. Probably have some more of this coming in over here from outside. Stick it in my hand there. It's like there's an expression in fine art where it's like the medium is the message, and kind of what that implies, at least always implied to me, was that the things that you do in the medium, they kind of reveal what it is you're trying to do overall. And without the time that it takes to make something, you kind of lose um, the discovery process of what's possible, because you believe that the thing that you've done on your first try is adequate. One of the problems with photography has always had is that because it feels like it's true because of all the detail, um, it kind of tricks people into believing what they're seeing is the truth. Which is a problem, right? If you kind of accept something as being accurate when it is not, that's one of the things with Gen AI is it looks like it's telling the truth. So even like, I'll see people send me AI summaries and like maybe they're right, in that particular instance, but I've definitely seen them be wrong once by accident. Because I try to avoid, even looking at them. So I don't use Google very often anymore. I mostly use DuckDuckGo with all the AI turned off. But I guess that's kind of over here in front. But yeah, I had a friend send me an image of a painting that I think his grandmother had bought in New York in the early part of the 20th century. And it's really small. It's actually maybe a little bit smaller than this one. It's a portrait. And I dropped it into Google image search, thinking, well, maybe it'll show me who it's by, because I could kind of read the name on there. It's Russian, but a little blurry. Something to like Libra or something like that. Yeah, yeah. Working through problems is what gives you is what grants you discovery. But anyway, yeah, it showed me. So I did that, but what it did is it did an AI analysis on it instead, and it told me that it was a 16th century Dutch painting from the Circle of Rembrandt, which I knew 100% was false. Like, no, it's not. It was like literally anti-information. But I could imagine, somebody who doesn't know what they're looking at or what they're talking about. They're going through some antiques or they see it in a store or whatever and they do a little thing with that and suddenly they're like, oh, I found this great discovery, and they try to show it to somebody, because a lot of people are very visually illiterate, like they don't know what they're looking at a lot of the time. So I got a back, a long time ago, I was studying with this painter, and this lady brought in this largish painting she found at like some yard sale or something, and she thought it was by this one contemporary painter, which it wasn't at all. Like, it was obviously not by this guy, but she kind of thought it was because the subject matter was kind of the same. And that's always kind of stuck out in my head. And she thought it was a Steve Houston painting. So if you're familiar with his paintings of boxers, it was that, or moving people. It was kind of that sort of thing. But yeah, the problem with AI is it's a closed door, right? One of the other, well, many problems, but it's a closed door. So it gives you a solution that is sufficient fidelity that you just kind of accept what you've been given, regardless of other factors, where you may think it's better than what you came up with because it has that the veneer of completeness to it. And that's a very, very dangerous thing to do to yourself, is to kind of put you in that delusional state of believing that this chatbot has solved a problem when it's not solving any problems. It's not thinking, it's not solving at all. So I can imagine that you're probably seeing a lot of that coming from directors and art directors, and like, here, I want it to be like this. And you're like, maybe it shouldn't be like that because of X, Y, and Z, and now I have to troubleshoot the thing that you've done. And we're seeing that in programming where it can cause real problems. Like in art, at least, no one's probably going to die if you do like a bad storyboard. And it's like, I like to point out to my students, like, it's not that it's not hard or challenging, so like I say, it's not rocket science. But it's not that it's not hard. It's just that nobody's going to die if you do a bad piece of work. You're not aiming missiles at anybody, or um, putting up a bridge where if you do it wrong, uh, real problems can happen. Not even driving a car, or if you do that wrong, it's like or running around the house as a kid. It's less dangerous than that. My niece, she bumped into my sister's dog, and he's a Dane slash yellow lab, and so he's really big, and she's very small. I think she's like what, 4, 3, something like that. Her age, so she's very little, and they crashed into each other full speed, and of course he's like weighs at least twice as much as she does, if not 3 times her. Well, that's really good to hear. I've been hearing a lot of nightmare stuff, which has kind of turned me off from pursuing outside work to a certain degree. Um, Hopefully, it won't get me in too much trouble at my teaching job. But they anyway, they crashed into each other. She broke her collarbone on him last night, dislocated her arm. She's like, so small. He's just this big, big dog. He's 9, like he's same age as my dog, much bigger. I think his head is as big as my dog's chest. Um, no news on her. Yeah, there's that X-rays. I'm like, hey, look, I recognize all those bones and joints in there. Oh yeah, I'm just sad that you got hurt. But she'll be okay. It's just it's a collarbone, so you can't really put that in a cast and just set it. You gotta, I think they actually have to go in there and do some surgery and pin it up or something. It should heal really well because she's just really small and young. But to a certain degree, I'm actually more worried about the dog. This is the second time someone's gotten hurt with him. The first time was with me. Bit my ear, he'd twisted his ankle, and I went over to kind of help him up, and he kind of freaked out and chomped my ear. I'm very lucky to still have that ear. But it wasn't like it was my fault. Like you don't, what's the number? One of the number one rules with dogs or any kind of any kind of animal really is you don't approach an injured animal, right? Guess who broke that rule? I did. So I kind of saw it more as my fault than his. Yeah, it's a yeah. I got really he's like big mouth. Like if he had just like ripped as he bit down, like that would have been real problem. So I have a punctured tragus, so the little ear flap. That's punctured, so it looks like there's a little scar in there, and I guess there's scarring on the back of my ear, but I can't see it. Yeah, but he did puncture the that little front flap. I should have known better, but I was like, oh, I'll just go help him up, and that was a big, big no-no. But yeah, in this case with her, it wasn't like even he was hurt or they did anything bad. It just came around the corner at the wrong time. And hopefully it'll be a lesson, to the little kids there because they all saw it happen. Don't approach injured animals without, an adult who's smarter than me. Something like that would be a good idea. But yeah, we've all gotten bitten trying to help people, right? So it's not a unique human situation. I was looking at those windows. I was like, yeah, I gotta put something in there. So I was like, well, I've already got this image of this jellyfish, so I thought that would be a good idea to put that in there. Two hours. Oh, I probably should stop. It's 10 o'clock. Yeah, so that's probably a good spot to pause there. We'll come back to this in the morning. Yep, I'm about to stop. I need to get to other things today too. Yeah, appreciate you coming in, and yeah, I enjoy looking at your boards. There's a lot of energy. Yeah, I see a lot of stiff storyboards out there. So, yeah, but thanks for coming in, and we'll talk to you all later.